Welcome to our Posh podcast. I am Gabrielle. I'm your host here with my daughter Marcella.
Hello.
And our co-host Bernie.
Hello, hello.
And Spider.
Waka waka.
We say hi and we're going to jump right into today's subject that we're going to discuss. And it is, should you stay together for the sake of the children?
Ooh, man, that's tough. That's a tough one. I was married, and I had two kiddos, one biological, one that was my stepson, and that was when I started going through my divorce. It was in October 17. When we first started going through it, we were in December 15, and so we were separated for almost 2.5 years, something like that. And I saw that just impact my 12-year-old big time. But dude, that's a tough one because kids, I think, are really resilient. I think they can bounce back depending on how the divorce goes, but that's a tough one.
I have to admit I stayed for a long time because of the kids, because I always thought I really don't care. I was sure that no one would love my children like their dad does, so that was a reason for me to stay, because I was a mother first and foremost. So I stayed, but mine wasn't that bad. I mean, it was only mafia, but just kidding.
That's it. No big deal.
But having then gone through the divorce and having seen it, and then having people that I know that are actually on purpose staying with their children and with their husbands, sorry, with their husbands for the children's sake, because they want to get through the high school years, whatever. And then I've seen some that stayed. I can honestly say it's never failed that the people that stay together for the kids and then get divorced after the kids are in college, those kids have a way harder time adjusting. That family, like, there's so much drama and so much almost hatred, so much resentment. It is almost irreparable. Yeah. When you do it when they are younger, it's not easy ever, but I feel like they can adjust and you can have it. I mean, kids know, they're not stupid. So that's just my own personal opinion, what I've seen. I think if you're not happy and if you don't have a good relationship, just do it. Get it over with.
I think, too, I remember when you guys got divorced and people would ask me, like, was that upset? I'm like, no, because I want my parents to be happy, because them together not happy made everybody not happy. And them apart and happy, like the household is happier. I work with a lot of children and families, and I can say, observing through all the years that I have, kids know, like, you're not like you want children to grow up in a home with a good example of what love is supposed to be like. And I think that when they don't, and they think that that's how it's supposed to be, you're kind of confusing them. Yeah. And then they grow up with this confusing thought. And I've worked with some teenagers who know, they're like, I don't know, my parents are lying. Like, they hate each other because they'll confide in me. And they're like, I don't know why they don't just get divorced. Like, they fight all the time. I hate going home. I know that they're waiting till I go to college, and I think it's crazy. And so you're not really hiding anything from them, especially the older they get to know better. But I do know it's hard, because I know that people want to, dating someone who has kids, they want to be with their kids all the time. And it's hard to separate their time.
That was, man. So yeah, no, that's a tough one. I remember when I was going through my stuff, my big fear and why I made kind of mine go as long as we did is because I was fearful of not seeing my kid, my son, ever.
I think for men, it's probably worse because women have them, in most scenarios, have them more than the men do. Mm-hmm. So I do know that for guys, that might be the harder part.
I mean, today it's so different, though. Men have them way more than they used to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it used to be that they would have them every other weekend just for those 2 days kind of thing.
I think there's more men who are fighting to be in their kids' lives.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, I know that's what it was for me. I mean, it cost me more money to get 50-50 custody of my son. But,
are you 50-50?
Yeah, we're 50-50.
Oh,
but
cool.
it was, but I mean, it was, I would have given up 100% of everything I had because
you mean the process cost you more money?
No, it actually financially cost more money.
Really?
Yeah, because It was really interesting when I was going through my divorce. My lawyer, she was great. In a shitty situation with a divorce, and my divorce was not pleasant or, cheap at all.
Do you guys make it work now?
Depends. So lately, we have been really cool with each other, and I mean, it's just been nice to we can actually talk, and
it's the most important thing for your son.
Absolutely,
the most important thing. Like that is something that my mom actually taught me a long time ago, and each child has one mom, one dad.
Yeah. And
if you talk bad about the other, they feel 50% bad themselves. They're 50% of each person.
Yeah, so. Kids are, and they really do pay attention to that whole deal, and they soak it up so much. And so I'm pretty fortunate that my son's mom and I are pretty cool. Even when we don't get along, we don't do it in front of Jet.
Right.
So, which is nice. But.
Well, and I really enjoyed that. My dad was coming over holidays. It was nice to not have that separation. My dad came over to cook, and Patrick and him finally got along when he wasn't trying to murder him.
So I was say, what? I would be scared to death.
Patrick is a trooper. He'll come on at some point, I know, and he should tell his version of that. But there was in the beginning that I think my dad chased him down with the car. It was just the beginning was not pretty, but then I did enjoy.
He threatened to feed us to the sharks and everything. Cut us up. No joke though.
Yeah, well, that didn't happen. But
He said
I feel scared right now for you. Now. It's been years.
Yeah, but fast forward, it was enjoyable that everybody could be together. He met my sister. He was just there, so it was nice that they could all get along.
Weren't you scared?
No,
never ever scared that.
The thing, her dad and I, we lived together separate, and we lived together like brother and sister for a lot of years because I really liked him. I liked him as a brother.
But I thought it was normal for people to sleep in separate bedrooms.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, they don't know. My dad snores or something, so they don't sleep in the same room. I didn't remember that, though. I thought that was how every family was.
Oh, that's great that you guys weren't impacted by it then.
Yeah.
No, it was just when I decided we had been unofficially separated for so long. And then when we officially separated, then he couldn't handle when I started dating, even though we made it clear, but he couldn't handle it. I think then the reality was hard to handle. And there was a little time that was not great, but it was really in the whole big picture of it. It was
not
about
bad.
2 years.
Yeah.
And then after that is when Patrick and him became friends, and he would come over every weekend.
That's cool.
And then the big holidays, because he was a 5-star chef, he used to have restaurants. We would buy all the stuff for the food, and he would come and
Great
cook it all.
Italian chef.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing.
We had a restaurant called Ranieri's.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Besides the mob stuff, he was really
He was
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's how he
news.
got into it, because
Yeah.
he had a restaurant, and all the mob guys would hang out there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's part of the
Yeah,
whole,
the whole
long
story.
story.
That's a different podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to tell you guys 10 reasons to stay together for the children's sakes. This article talks about. It has shown that children benefit tremendously when raised by parents in a healthy marriage. So then that doesn't make any sense,
At
because
all.
you wouldn't get divorced if you're
Right.
not in a healthy marriage.
You
But
are in a healthy marriage.
You should then work on a healthy marriage, because the following reasons are less likely to divorce as adults. They have fewer emotional problems, are less likely to abuse drugs and alcohol, are more likely to attend college than children from divorced parents, are less likely to engage in delinquent behavior as teens, make smarter relationship choices, and are less likely to become victims of domestic abuse, have better relationships with both parents, are less likely to become sexually active as young teens, are less likely to experience teen pregnancy, and experience a more financially secure lifestyle for children.
But that isn't a healthy relationship.
That's a
I'm
healthy
assuming.
relationship. And so 5 reasons not to stay together for the children's sake is you will remove your children from the anxiety produced by their parents' conflict.
Which is
Children-
horrible.
Yeah.
I
really, really
hated the fighting.
same. My
That's
parents.
awful.
That's terrible.
Didn't like that.
Children need to have warm, loving, and supportive relationships with parents. The parent who removes them from an environment that is highly conflicted and violent is showing that child that they're loved and supported. A child's basic needs include feelings of safety and security. Divorcing a violent now this is going the other opposite.
Wow, yeah.
We're going to violent spouse means you're making sure those basic needs are met. Some research suggests that children exposed to domestic abuse suffer developmentally and do not form attachments to parents. Well, we're going to abuse. Like I don't know.
That took a dark turn.
God,
Seriously,
that took
though.
a really dark turn.
At the end of the day, though, I mean, it's it's not a good situation no matter what. And, if there's a possible way to, with exception of the violent spouse, if there's a way to try to co-parent in a sense,
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough because, especially going through divorce, if you guys, like, there's some people who just go through divorce and it's so easy. It's cut and dry. They're both very cool with it. They're both ready for the divorce. And everyone does well-ish. But, what's I guess the biggest goal is if you're going to get to the point where we're going to do it is really trying to do it together in a sense where the kids are impacted as little as possible.
But for that, you have to have two people that are reasonable. Not always are they reasonable. There are two people that have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Very few times they are. And then when you put in like someone else, if there's an affair, for instance, that makes it all crazy.
Yeah.
So it's really, really hard. I don't know.
Hard all the way around.
It's hard all the way around.
Yeah.
But I think it does backfire when you stay together.
I think because it feels like a lie.
Yes. That's probably why.
You know what I
think
mean?
Exactly.
Because you then feel like your parents have been lying when as kids, and then when you grow up as a teenager and then a young adult, you're like, they should have just known the truth. You should never hide things from your kids, I don't think. We talk about everything. But, I mean, obviously the normal stuff. But,
Yeah, it's like there has to be an articulate way to say stuff on certain things. But I agree, there's certain things that you definitely should communicate with the kids. But I mean, there's definitely stuff to also keep it between the parents. But I mean, here's the thing: no matter what, it's all a touchy subject because you really don't know how your child's going to react. So.
But I mean, it's like so crazy when you think about it. Like all these things, like we're talking, I mean, this came up, I didn't even think about it, but the domestic abuse, like if you're in a really bad relationship, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. But then sometimes, then we go back to abusive relationships altogether. The women, they are scared. They don't want to get out. They don't want to do any of that. So I don't know.
it's all difficult, I think.
It's really difficult.
So just don't have kids, guys. This is a lot easier. No, it's really true. I remember when my son's mom and I, we just hated each other for the most part. It was one of those things where I thought, I could never imagine not having my son. But I remember thinking, like, man, if Jet wasn't involved in this thing, this would be so much easier to be able. You never have to see that person again. But it is when you add kids to the mix, it's such a different dynamic.
Do you still have a relationship with your stepson?
No, I do not.
No. And was that hard for you?
That was was brutally hard. And so that was one thing that happened that when we were going through it and I had started dating someone new and when my ex found out that I was dating someone new, that was the first time she'd seen me really move on. Like I got into a serious relationship.
Yeah.
And that made it go south because I had let her, the new person I was dating, I let them meet my son, and my ex-wife had lost it on that. And then at that point, she made the mistake and she apologized for it. And I won't say too much of what was said, but she said some things to, he's 11 at the time, and it was things that should never been said to a 11-year-old.
Kind of stuck for him.
Yeah. Because I'm Puerto Rican. She's very white. And she had told him that I wasn't his dad, and like stuff like that. And that's the only thing I knew. He'd only known me since
like
two.
Right.
Since 2. So I'm the only dad he knew. I think eventually he would have known that the Hispanic guy is not his dad. But at that point, he doesn't know any better.
Right.
So it was the emotional thing done.
Yeah.
And then, it was a very unfortunate thing because to this day, he's not, we don't, and it sucks. But
yeah. Well, because I would imagine in that when you blend a family and then that blended family divorces, then you have that.
Yeah.
How old is he now?
He's 13 now.
You never know. I mean, when he becomes an adult, he may want to. I mean, you never know.
So that took about, that took about 8-9 months to kind of get to where I was like, all right, this is what it is. I mean, I have him tattooed on my arm.
Oh,
right.
wow.
So, yeah. So that was tough. And then, recently his mom and I have gotten very cool with each other. And so I'm taking Jet on a little mini vacation, and I just asked her, I was like, hey, will you just find out if he'd be open to go, and it'll give him a chance to get to town, and so we're doing that, and then we're going to try to go to Disneyland or Disney World in July. So I told her too, I'm like, look, just see if he wants to go, and at least get him a chance. Because I'm trying to do these little reconnecting things.
Wow, that's nice.
But
that is nice.
That's very,
but
very nice.
But the thing is, it's kind of awkward because I talked to his brother. I talked to my son.
Right.
When I talked to him, we're FaceTime, and I was saying stuff. I feel almost bad for my stepson. Not almost. I feel bad for him because I'm talking. Jed is engaged, and I love you so much, and I'm saying it back, and I'm thinking that kind of that sucks big time because his brother's right there, and he can hear it, and so
I think it's really sweet of you to think about it though, because he is part of your son. I mean, they're brothers.
Yeah.
So that's.
Wow. I saw the other day on Instagram that A-Rod posted Mark Anthony and J-Lo's kids, and like they are all really getting along great.
Because he has 2 kids.
He has, and they're all like really good.
That's got to be such a different life. Those, I mean, because the thing is, every one of them are A-listers. It's not like one's like a super celebrity, one's not. They're all 3 mega international, like off the chart stars.
Right.
And so, I mean, how do you upgrade from J-Lo? So especially someone who looks like Mark Anthony. He's not a good looking guy. He's talented, but he's doing fine, right? I'm sure he's doing completely
it's
fine.
kind of, when you say it like that, it's kind of interesting how it looked actually, because I mean, A-Rod and J-Lo look great together, and then that was like Mark Anthony.
He's like the awkward step
but they seem like they are great. So yeah, I don't know. God, this is all so hard. I don't know. Try to make it work. Try to be.
I think as adults, you need to try to be mature adults and set stuff aside for your kids if you can. Yeah. I know that sometimes it's hard because people are set in their ways.
And then I almost feel if it goes south, or if it's like, if there's someone else involved, whatever, like, then get out fast. Like, why even linger in it? I feel
it's
in
not
the
that
divorce.
easy though, because it's just you get emotional. I mean, the thing is it's just everyone just gets emotionally wrapped into it. They're pissed off, but they still love them, and they don't want to get rid of it and all that stuff. It's I think it's easier said than done, for sure.
Always, every situation.
It is. Especially if you have kids. That's right. Because even if you don't like that person, like one thing that I remember thinking, there's a real fear for me when I started going through my divorce. We separated. My biggest fear was not who my ex-wife was going to be banging, at all. I mean, I thought, I was like, oh shit, this is going to be bad. My fear was who's going to be in Jet's life, who's going to be in Caden's life. That was more fearful to me than anything, because at that point, if we're married and we're together, I have full at least say so. Unless you're off cheating on me somewhere here, I at least get control over who's in my kids' lives.
Who's in your house?
Yeah, who's in my like this is But if we're not together, I can bitch and complain and get a restraining order put on me and act crazy and do stupid stuff. But at the end of the day, I can't do anything while I'm not there. That is true. So that was a big fear for me. And I know that was when I started dating. That was one of the fears of my ex-wife. When I'd gotten engaged, she was so petrified of the person I was engaged to, like, because there was times that when I introduced Jet to my ex-fiance, he tried to understand at 7 years old, so is she my mom or this and that? So I'm trying to explain to him, she's not your mom, your mom's your mom. And so he comprehended it at a 7-year-old rate. So what he ended up doing, because there's no 7-year-olds have no filter of anything. So he goes back to his mom and he says, hey, so-and-so dad said that so-and-so is gonna be my other mom. And I'm like, so she calls me immediately. I'm like, that is
not what I said.
Not what I said. Trying to explain to him, you gotta remember, you're getting it filtered through a 7-year-old's brain.
Yeah.
So she didn't give a shit. She was still she's still hating me for that one, but
which also that whole process is hard then.
Yeah.
Then you have that on top of it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I'm exhausted.
I feel very emotionally worn out right now too.
Oh my God. Let's call Miss Polly.
Like, I've never been divorced. I don't have children, so I don't know.
You're missing nothing right now.
I almost feel like asking her a different question.
Ask her a different one.
Hey.
How are you?
Living La Vida Loca, baby.
Yes.
It makes me want a margarita.
I know.
Or more.
Okay.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
This is Penis and Pussy Talk with Miss Polly.
All right, Miss Polly,
Indeed.
I have
Yes.
a question. if you gained weight, would you want your partner to tell you or keep it to themselves? I know you weren't prepared for that one.
You're screwed no matter what. What is wrong?
Well, you are. The guys are screwed.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, come on. If he doesn't mention it, you get pissed off. If he does, you get pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, how do you say that?
So there's.
You don't. You don't at all.
I'm not pissed off that Patrick hasn't said anything.
I know because it happened to me, but I mean, it was literally, I knew that I had gained weight. I mean, trying to decide how best to, I don't know, navigate through it. But then at the same time, he had also gained weight. So it was like, yeah, okay, well.
So what is it then?
Middle age sucks.
When you ask them if their outfit does this make me look fat?
Nobody asks that nowadays.
Yeah.
She does all the time.
Yeah, but shut up. You're not even fair. That's obnoxious. And you're like, I ask about fat. Like, really, Marcella?
I would tell you yes just to mess with you.
That is, I know. Something like you, that's bullshit.
Literally, it's a trap.
It's a total.
Oh my God, when did you get so big?
Yeah.
But I do
Little
think
bit.
that. I do ask them.
A little bit.
Question, and here for guys, the answer to that question is you look beautiful, but I don't think that that's the most flattering outfit.
No. I don't think so at all. Let me stop you right now, Miss Polly. No.
I would say you look so good. I want to tear those clothes off of you right now.
No.
I wouldn't tell you why though.
So you take them off.
Red's not really a good look for you. Maybe you should pick a different color.
I think Spider has it. He's just going to rip it off and then it's ruined. You can't wear it.
Let me tell you, you're screwed no matter. You're fucked no matter what that question is there. You're done.
It's true.
It's true. There's no.
True.
So I will tell you this one thing. So what I have done in that little arena of whatnot is I would invite whoever it was. Not that I've dated too many out of shape people, but I would invite them to come work out with me, or I meal prep. So I would make meals for them, and I would.
That's nice.
So that's the reaction I would get, because I'd get the
You're so
that's so sweet, right? And it'd be like I did that all the time. So it'd be like healthy meals, so they wouldn't have to make their meal.
Yeah.
And I'd write a little
And
note
it's
on
already.
Tupperware.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and that was always worked, because usually if I'm dieting or eating healthy, or most people that I'm not that I'm dating 1,000 people, but whoever I'm dating, it's like they want to do it too.
Yeah.
And so
Whoever you're dating every 4 days.
every 4
Oh,
Every 4
every 4
days.
days. Let's see how that goes.
Where'd you get that from?
Let's see after the dating show how it goes.
Yeah.
We'll let it then. But no, it works, and I get the whole "you're so sweet" thing.
Yeah.
I don't get my Tupperware back though, but
Well, my question though is, are you meal prepping foods that are really in line with her losing weight, or are you just assuming?
no. So the foods that I will meal prep are pretty general. So it'd be like ground turkey and a green vegetable, and or a broccoli or grilled chicken or something. So it's pretty universal as far as, even if you weren't trying to lose weight, if you just want to be healthier, it's a healthier option. So so that always works
Turkey is
out well.
good.
Yeah.
Some people can't really digest chicken and other things, because I do the blood diet, blood type diet. So not everybody can eat all that stuff.
So I was vegan for a year, or I was whole food plant based for a year, and I would do like I can make any meal very sexy for a woman.
There you go. And well, I got to tell you, most women find men that prepare food or can prepare food to be highly sexy.
Yes.
It's a sexy thing.
it's fun in the kitchen all the time.
I have something else. Like, why do you even ask? Like, I would never even ask.
That would be the question. Why would women ask? I would never ask.
I've never had a girl ask me.
I would never ask.
Have I
If
gained
I
weight?
look fat or if I gained weight, I already know.
I've had my ex-wife ask me
We
that.
do know.
But she
I
was
think
fat.
what
I'm
the
kidding.
women-
I'm kidding. I'm totally
The
kidding.
question that, see, what the woman is really trying to ask is, do you still find me desirable? That is really what it boils down to. Do you
Nope.
still think I'm
Nope,
sexy?
not at all.
Do you think I'm sexy?
Do you think I'm sad?
Wow.
Do you want my body?
That's exactly what I
Oh
started.
my God.
That's the only thing I thought of. I'm glad that you caught that, because I was like, I don't know if anybody else got that.
I did. I just didn't know the words.
Just start busting out into song.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh God, that's so funny.
That's usually
I guess
me.
there is
Why
not
did
a
I
good
even
way.
go there?
A good way to say it.
No, you don't
No.
ask.
Because then anytime
really,
you
you
start
don't.
crying.
No one's ever asked. That's funny. You I can't believe you asked that.
Do you like fatness?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I ask everyone.
And has anyone made you said someone's made you cry before?
No, I'm just saying if somebody said yes, I'd cry.
Yeah.
But I have a problem.
Just don't ask. I don't ask.
I think
I already know.
don't
I have
ask
a mirror.
and don't say
Oh,
anything.
so
Just
flattering.
cook food like Bernie
That's
does
right.
with little
That's
notes.
right.
So sweet.
That is
Thank
so
you,
awesome.
thank you.
Baby, you're so beautiful.
But
I'm just
hey,
trying to make you more beautiful.
I would love if you went. I got you a gym membership. Would you go
No,
with me?
no,
yeah.
absolutely not, Miss Polly. You stop it right now.
No.
You know,
No, but go for a walk or run or something. Let's go do
Babe,
it together.
So I did something really cool. I know you've been talking about, lip injections, Botox, right? So I got you
a gym membership.
gym membership, and I got you tummy tuck. It's gonna be good.
Oh my
No Botox, but it's
Yeah,
a
she-
doctor
Hey, how
who
about
does
some
it.
lipo? Lipo
I guess
is
some people would be
great.
happy with that.
No woman would be happy with that. I'm telling you from a guy's perspective. Call me Dr. Diamond on this one here. There's no one.
Diamond.
No one's good.
Oh, we
A
need a
mommy makeover.
That's right.
hold on. We need a new jingle. The Dr. Diamond moment.
That's so funny.
Oh, my land
man.
trust.
I mean, some people would be happy with a mommy makeover.
Of
If
course.
they asked you before.
Yes.
That's
If
that's
they said it.
If they said it for sure.
Yeah.
Because
Got it.
my son's mom got on my makeover and she was all about it. I didn't have to say anything. I didn't care. But she was. I didn't care. I supported her. So
Yeah.
I benefited from it. So
Yeah, exactly.
she looked good. She felt good. It was good for me. So.
Good.
Right. Well, let's go to the question of the day, guys.
The two posh girls ask the question of the day.
Woogie would tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you look like a fucking fat ass change.
Who's this?
Kevin, Drew. Do you know Kevin? Woogie? You know
Okay,
Woogie?
question of the day. What luxury is totally worth the price?
Botox.
No doubt you're gonna say. I knew someone was gonna say that.
My hair extensions.
I think really nice hotel rooms, a nice car.
A nice car. I would say a nice car. I'm a car fanatic. And
I am not, but a nice car is nice. But I love staying in really nice hotels. It's like one of my things. I do not want to stay in like even medium hotels. I like
the nicest
5-star
nice, yeah.
hotel rooms.
Nothing
I
wrong
do.
with that.
They're worth it to me.
Spider.
I know nothing of luxury. I'm a very basic man.
Watches are another thing. Those are not, watches are luxuries. I mean, you gotta appreciate like a watch.
Yeah.
Like that. Same thing with cars. Like, who's gonna spend $350,000 on
Also a house.
a
I
house
think.
for sure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Worth it. I
See,
also
I'm nails and toes. My nails and
Yeah,
toes.
for sure.
That is for sure worth it.
I get my nails
And-
amethyst.
I
Yes.
never do it, but
I will skimp other places.
I never do it. I know it's gonna make me sound a brat, but I never get to do it anymore. But first class flying is
Yes.
absolutely worth the luxury.
Man, I haven't
but
done that in so long.
that's the best.
Traveling so much for work, I wish I was doing that all the time. It'd be so much nicer.
That is nice.
So-
First class is always nice.
Oh, that's
Worth it.
Never
worth
had it, so
You've never been on
any?
any first class flights at all, ever?
No.
A private
I'm with
plane because I hate going through security.
Man, I've done one private plane in my life.
I've
and
never
oh
done
my
it.
Gosh,
never. What
that's
happened?
for a different podcast for sure.
Why?
But because it was so insane.
Why?
So I went with this was in 2000.
Insane good.
Insane, like it was crazy party, like
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
party. So it was like 2004 or 5, and we went. I was with a couple guys who played for the Cowboys, and we had been up just partying.
Yeah.
And these guys just had the bright. This is true. After like 24 hours up, they had this bright idea of let's go to Vegas. So I'm like,
I feel like I've heard the story before.
yeah. But so
But
what?
not from you.
But not from you.
But what these guys did, and one of the guys we were with, I mean, he was so messed up on like he'd just been up partying. Of course, I wasn't. No, we were all just being stupid. So, but he had his computer up, and he had his Bank of America. He's a Cowboys. I guess that's the Bank of the Cowboys. So he had his bank account open, and he had millions. I don't think he did it in a way to brag. He just had his bank account open. He had millions of dollars in his bank account, and him and the other Dallas Cowboy took off to go do something. And it was like 12 or 1 the next day on a weekday, and they came back with like $80,000 in $100 bills. And I mean, it was crazy to me because I had never been like, hey, let's go do this, and $80,000 to go to Vegas. And so they came back and they threw this $80,000 in hundreds up in there like it was raining down. Then they called Millionaire or something, and got a private plane. We took limos over to the airport, got in there, flew to Vegas, and stayed there for 24 hours. So we were, this point in my life, I was so broke. Everything I made, I spent
was
partying.
This before?
This is before my accident.
Oh, wow.
It was way before This was years before my accident. Yeah, I was a hairdresser, and this is when we was partying. Everything we'd make, we'd spend just partying. And so I was broke. So they were like, "Hey, don't worry about it. Come on, whatever." So on the come back, they didn't get the private plane. Everyone bought their own tickets, and I'm like, "Shit!" So I bought a ticket, and I connected. Now we've been up for 2 or 3 days this time, and this is 14 years ago. So this is definitely a different chapter of life. But I'd been up, and the plane ticket I got connected me to 3 other spots. So I'm stopping at one place in the country. Then I'm staying there for an hour or two, and then I'm flying up. It was the most.
You just want to get home.
I just wanted to get home, and I was just at that point. I'm just in the fetal position, just crying.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
really, but
So the way there was great. And
the way there was
sucked.
5-star. It was this is the way to do it, and the way back was the way everyone else flies, I guess. 3 stops. It was horrible. But I've been up for 2 or 3 days. It was a horrible
That
experience.
sounds awful, actually.
But the flight down there was pretty awesome.
I bet.
It was really awesome.
Miss Polly, you found someone new for your nails and toes, right?
Yes. I miss Steve, though.
What happened?
I still miss
She
Steve.
moved.
She moved away from us. We're trying to get her back one day, right?
Do we got to wait till August to get mani-pedis with you?
Yeah.
I need to
Pretty
get my
much.
nails done.
The end of August, I plan on spending some time in Dallas.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Excited.
You can meet Bernie.
I
and
am.
Spider. Oh, no, you met her.
Oh, we've met.
Forgot she's on the show.
All right, you guys. That will be the end of this show. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.